Do you find that super telephoto lenses are a little bit on the heavy side, that they're a little bit too large? Would you like a more compact design that reduces the weight without reducing the optic quality? Japanese patent application 2024-040756, filed on September the 13th, 2022, and published on March the 26th, 2024, claims to provide a lens barrel suitable for miniaturization. As you guessed it, despite the problem statement being a little bit too vague, this patent application is all about reducing the size and weight of their lenses, specifically super telephoto and telephoto lenses, which are generally larger than most. And I'm talking about the recently announced RF 200 to 800mm, the 800mm f5.6, and even the 70 to 200mm. But one of the questions you might be wondering is, how is it in this patent has Canon managed to reduce the size and the weight of these lenses without impacting on the optics? First, let's read some of the patent legalese from the scope of claims, so you can get a taste of how lawyers and engineers write. And then I'll go ahead and simplify things, so don't worry if this seems a little bit too, well, convoluted. A lens barrel consists of a first lens barrel configured to hold the first lens group, and an optical member, where the first lens barrel and the optical member are connected together. The first convex portion regulates the position of the lens in an optical axis direction. A second convex portion of the optical member is disposed at a phase other than the phase having the first convex position, and the first convex position and the part of the second convex position are disposed in the same plane perpendicular to the optical axis. For the engineers and lawyers in the crowd, this is pretty straightforward despite the machine translation from Japanese. But for the rest of us, this is anything but clear, concise, and coherent. So let me go ahead and simplify the goal, which ties into the how of this patent application. The patent's main goal is to provide a lens barrel that's suitable for miniaturization. That's the whole point of this patent. It does this by considering not just the relationship between the driving units and the lens groups, but also the configuration concerning the adjacent lens barrels and other optical components. If it isn't already obvious, what Canon's doing here with this patent application is that they're taking a holistic view at reducing the weight and size of their lenses. They're not just looking at materials, they're not just looking at the different lens groups and the overall size as well as the optical lens groupings. They're looking at it all together to figure out how they can reduce the size, because if you can reduce the size, you reduce the number of materials and you reduce the weight. And potentially, you could also reduce the cost. We're going to get technical for just a moment. The specific design involves using convex portions of the lens barrel and the optical member, which helps regulate the position of the lens in the optical axis direction, which contributes to a smaller overall size of the lens barrel. And this patent application, JP 2024-040756, has managed to solve the problem of reducing the size and weight by using two techniques. The first technique might seem just a little bit obvious. Can you guess what it is? Yeah, it's to reduce the overlap of the drive units and the lens groups. It involves arranging multiple drive units and a second lens group so they overlap in a plane perpendicular to the optical axis. And this overlapping is what helps make the lens barrel smaller. And the second technique that this patent application talks about is narrow clearance. Narrow clearance, as the name implies, reduces the radial clearance between the lens barrel compared to the clearance between adjacent lenses. This helps prevent collisions between lenses, which is very important, and further contributes to miniaturization. And if you've been watching this channel for a long time, it might seem like some of these patent applications are actually related to each other. They're not written in isolation. And that's because this isn't the only Canon patent application that deals with addressing the size and weight of lenses, at least not in the last couple of months. Remember this one? JP 2024-032819. It was filed on April the 25th, 2019, and updated recently, January the 22nd, 2024, before being published this month on March the 12th, 2024. I covered this patent a couple of weeks back, and it might ring a bell when I mention the term carbon fiber. That's right, This patent application was all about reducing the size and weight of lenses by using unique materials such as carbon fiber. And yes, there are certain heating and thermal properties of carbon fiber that might make it problematic, but the point is, this isn't the only patent application that talks about, at least in the last couple of months, reducing the size and weight of lenses such as super telephotos and telephotos and zooms. And then of course there's Canon patent application 2023-167799, filed on May the 13th, 2022, and published November the 24th, 2023. It set out to simplify the lens structure and reduce the number of components. And these are just 3 examples of Canon patent applications that are aiming to solve the problem of the weight and size of their lenses. Canon's very serious about reducing the weight by removing components, by redesigning the lens groups, the barrel itself, or considering completely new material sciences, such as implementing carbon fiber. We can already see some of these patents applied to lenses that were recently announced. The Canon 800mm f11, which is a few years old. Then there's the recent 200 to 800mm, which is much lighter than you'd expect. And of course, there's the 70 to 200mm and the 800mm f5.6. And I want to pick on the 200 to 800mm for just a moment. Look at this. I'm reaching around like this. That's not exactly the best way to grab it. And it's pretty easy to hold. It's not all that heavy. I think it weighs somewhere around 4 or 4.5 pounds, but you know, completely collapsed. This doesn't feel heavy, and walking around with it, it isn't that bad. You'd expect a lens like this to weigh a whole lot more, and I mean somewhere north of 6 pounds, but it doesn't. It's pretty lightweight. I can't tell the materials that are used in constructing this lens because I haven't taken it apart. But there's definitely some plastics involved. It just feels different, but it's a pretty good lens, and it got the white treatment. So I think we're already starting to see some of these patent applications that were filed going back as early as 2019, but then some of them filed just 2 years ago. And as Rock Politics pointed out not too long ago, you see, when these were filed was usually at least 2 years ago, but they just got published, well, a couple of days ago. So by the time they were published, by the time the engineers were turning things over to the lawyers and they were filing patent applications, who knows how long Canon engineers were working on this. So it's very likely that future lenses that are coming out, such as the 200 to 500, will implement more of these, well, enhancements that we're seeing in patent applications, which is why I like covering them. But the real big question is, are you finding these videos interesting? Do you like me covering patent applications? And I really do appreciate your feedback. I've seen many of you provide feedback about these videos over the past couple of weeks. And one thing I've really noticed is, based on my analytics, there's quite a few, these videos are garnering quite a lot of views, and maybe it's because we're in that season where everybody's waiting to see the Canon EOS R5 and the R1, and there's a spillover of that over to these topics, but please let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. It means an awful lot to me, and even when you're critical of my videos or you call me out on some things, whenever you start off with, hey, thanks for this video, or I really like this video, but it means a lot to me. It's one of those things that keeps me going. You see them as well as I do. Some comments are pretty harsh. Some of them are rude, and they don't even offer any valid criticism. To me, criticism is something that you offer up saying, hey, I liked what you did here, but this part here, you could have done this better, or I've tried using this really works. It's where you're offering up criticism that helps improve, and not only does that help me, but it helps other people that are watching. It creates a discussion outside of the video, and that's something that's been a goal of mine since I started this channel, which is to create a community. But thank you for watching this channel, for subscribing, for commenting, and for those of you that use my affiliate links, these ones right here for Adorama, B&H, or Amazon.com, a big thanks to you, because I get anywhere from 2 to 12% back, which has allowed this channel to be where it is today. And yes, an awful lot of work on my part, but thank you, because the one interesting about YouTube is it very much is a community-driven effort. Yes, I spend a lot of time recording these videos, editing them, but I get a lot of ideas from you, and based on your feedback and what you like, just spurs me to go ahead and write another video, write another script, produce the video, and upload it. This video is being recorded right now at 7:27 at night. I recorded one early this morning when I woke up, and that's the firmware update. And this will be going out either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what other news comes out. I love doing this. I really do. And I'm really tired because I got up early. I was waiting for some news to come out and it didn't, but at least I got the firmware update. So I'm probably going to go to bed after recording this. I'm going to take everything upstairs, bring it into the computer to make sure it recorded properly, and then just leave it for me to edit early in the morning if there's no news. Or maybe I'll edit it on Thursday or Friday because I've already got 3 videos queued out to go up. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting. And if you want to stay up to date, if it's not already obvious, go ahead and subscribe and choose all notifications. But also, don't be afraid to follow me on X. I just put out, there was 2 major firmware updates today. There was one for the Canon EOS R5 and the R3. And Nikon also released a firmware update for the Nikon Z6 Mark II and the Nikon Z7 Mark II. So I didn't have enough time to do another video because I had to go off to work, but I at least tweeted that out along with a link where you can download it from Nikon USA. Again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.